All right, Jamie, thank you very much. Happening today, Governor Rick Scott is on day 2 of his Let's Keep Working tax cut tour. He's traveling the state to talk to Floridians about his plan to reduce taxes on families and small businesses by $1 billion over the next 2 years. I got that right, Governor?
That's right. $1 billion over the next 2 years. We've already cut taxes 40 times. It's your money. We've turned around our economy, and so we need to give you your money.
Right.
We're doing 28 cities in 2 weeks, and we're going to just talk about what we're going to do. We're going to pass a constitutional amendment that says your property taxes can't go up if your home value doesn't go up. We're going to continue to do, we've done $140 million worth of sales tax holidays. We're going to do another $200 million my second term. Your cell phone bill has taxes on it. We're going to reduce those taxes. We're going to get more manufacturing jobs by permanently eliminating the sales tax when you buy machinery and equipment. So more manufacturers will move to the state. We're also going to get rid of the business tax. So we'll get more Hertz and companies like that to move here, or companies like Gardner to expand here.
Definitely. So it sounds good as a campaign promise, but how do we sort of lay out a concrete plan to make sure you achieve those things if you're reelected for another term?
I always say when, but but we've done it before. I've turned the economy around. As you know, Charlie Crist left us in a mess. He gave us a $3.6 billion budget deficit my first year. We now have budget surpluses. That's why how we reduced taxes last year, this year, $500 million. Yesterday, part of it was $400 million for getting rid of the tax when you register your car, or reducing it, $20 to $25. That was $400 million right there. So we've turned our economy around. And as you know, Charlie raised taxes and we've cut taxes. We will have the money because we have a better economy. People are moving to our state. We've added 620,000 jobs. We now have record funding for K-12 education, record funding for transportation, record funding for universities, state colleges. The state, we're heading in the right direction.
So, and a few years ago, I know you'd mentioned phasing out the state corporate income tax. Some would say that has not exactly happened. So how do you respond to that when we're talking about taxes and tax cuts and, of course, keeping things moving?
Well, we have now 70% of the businesses in our state don't pay a business tax. We have been raising the credit. And so now I think it's about 70 of them don't pay it. If you're a sub-S or LLC, you don't pay it also. So we have been making progress, but we cut other taxes. We've gotten rid of the sales tax on machinery equipment for 3 years. That's why we're getting more manufacturing jobs. But we also, this year, $500 million in tax cuts we did this year. Also, if you're a small business and you lease space, you have to pay a sales tax. I want to get rid of that also. So we're heading in the right direction. It's an exciting time in our state. More jobs are coming to our state, and we have the money to take care of our environment, take care of the development disabled. It's an exciting time in the state.
Exactly right. Well, a lot of controversy surrounding Lee County right now. Of course, as you know, we are in the news for making history as being the first county in the state of Florida to opt out of state-mandated testing. There's another board meeting happening today, and just about an hour from now, where one of the board members that was the tiebreaker, the deciding vote, is expected to rescind her vote. What is your message to Lee County and also the school board and also the state as we really look at and examine state-mandated testing?
You know, the first thing you think about is the impact on our children, our students. You want to make sure that this is the state. If you finish high school and go on to university or go on to a career, you're ready. So what impact is it going to have on them? Now, all of us we're tired of the federal overreach. We're tired of whether it's education or a lot of other things. We're tired of it. So I get all that. But we also have to make sure we look at the unintended consequences. We've already opted out of PARC, the National Assessment Testing. We've already said the federal government will not data mine our students. The curriculum decisions will be made at the district level, so Lee County will make their own decisions on curriculum. So we've made a lot of tough choices, but we've got to be careful about the unintended consequences. What's going to happen in federal funding? What's going to happen if they want to go to university? So would you say the decision was good or bad that was made last week? I mean, should they stay the course and continue to try and opt out of state-mandated testing? Well, we don't know all the details. As I talk to teachers and I talk to parents, we all believe in high standards. We know we have to measure success. All of us get measured to improve, but we don't want the federal government making these decisions for us. So we'll have to look at the unintended consequences of this and get all the details, but my concern is what's going to happen to our students.
Sure. Do you think this is a little bit a little like we jumped the gun a little bit, though, for Lee County. I mean, we made such a monumental movement last week. And so many of our viewers, this is what they want to talk about. Do you think that maybe we should have taken a little more time? I mean, we're making national headlines. Of course, the leader of our state, do you think maybe we jumped the gun a little bit? Or what do you want to see happen today in this meeting?
Well, the biggest thing is let's really focus on how does it impact a student. Is it going to impact federal funding? So that would be less money for Lee County. What will happen when they apply to a university? Will it impact their ability to get into the best universities? So I think the biggest thing is let's really get into the details when we look at this. As I talk to teachers and parents, we have to have high standards, but we don't want the federal government dictating our education policy.
I'll sneak in one last question here. Of course, it's within your power to remove all of the board members that are currently on the Lee County School Board and also charge the Department of Education to stand in and take over of the education system here in Lee County. Is that something you might look to do?
Well, what I want to do is let's see what happens. Let's look at, get the details of this. And let's really understand the consequences of this first.
Okay, so say we have those dire consequences and per student funding is completely slashed. We lose federal funding from the federal government. Would you look to perhaps remove those school board members for making such a rash decision?
Well, my goal is that as people understand the details of this, they'll make the logical decision for the benefit of our students. I want our students to have the funding they need, our schools to have the funding. I want our students to get into the best universities. I mean, we're putting so much focus in our state. Record funding for K-12 education, record funding for state colleges, record funding for universities, and performance funding tied to, do you get a job? How much money do you make? What's it cost to go to university?
All right, well, I guess we'll have to wait and see what happens today to see if they need to be held accountable or exactly how we'll move forward. So that meeting's happening, by the way, in
just about 45 minutes from now. So, yeah, of course, Fox 4 will be inside of that meeting, and we'll let you know exactly what happens. But, of course, thank you, Governor Rick Scott, for joining us today on Fox 4 Rising. We appreciate it.
Tax cuts, $1 billion.
You'll be, I know, you're going to be all around the state, so thanks for taking some time with us this morning. We appreciate it. All right, we have to take a quick break right now. We'll be back in about 2 minutes. Stay with us.